One of the big conversations right now is about seasons, and I want to break down why that conversation is happening, some of my own thoughts, and what I'm also looking forward to in the seasons. I want to start by sharing an experience in order to explain this concept, which is I got one of the best experiences in the game so far, which was getting a piece of gear that felt pretty good. I got this piece of gear and I got 4 damage reduction rows that are usable on them, meaning this piece of gear right here felt amazing to get. I felt like I had gained some progression of my character and it felt like a peak moment for me. That is because at the end game of this game, and I'm not necessarily at end game on this Necromancer yet, I am in World Tier 4. I am pushing through Nightmare Dungeons, but I'm only level 79, admittedly. But in the end game, it really boils down to Nightmare Dungeons, trying to defeat Uber Lilith, and then min-maxing your gear, which is what these pants fall under. It is one of those 3, and that is currently sort of the in-game experience. And so because of that, I must ask myself if moments like these ones are going to keep me into the game for multiple years. Again, I try to look at this from both perspectives. I've been fairly positive about the game, but I have seen a lot of criticism when it comes to the in-game. So this video is me trying to open myself up to that conversation and understand it from that perspective. And because of that, if I am trying to be blatantly aware, I don't think just getting new items and min-maxing each of these slots would keep me interested for years to come. And because of that, that brings us back to the season conversation of feeling like Season 1 has a lot of pressures on the shoulder for Blizzard. I think where currently people are standing is they are really looking to see any notification from Blizzard in order to know where they plan to go with this game. I think this is very obvious if we actually look at the current patch notes. One of the feedbacks I've seen from this, even though these are mostly changes that we, the community, directly asked them for, teleporting to dungeons, experience in dungeons, even the balance changes that got somewhat of flack. We literally asked for generation for things like Fury, Spirit Essence, etc. We more or less wrote a good amount of these patches. Even these sort of buffs, for instance, do have negative connotation in them, which are fair enough points because people will say that, oh, 1 to 5% buff, who cares? That doesn't fundamentally change the game, which they're correct. It does not fundamentally change the game. It is minor buffs, but what it does is show that the focus from the audience isn't necessarily on these minor changes, but that people are really looking forward to new content, which is where the major point of this conversation comes in. What it really boils down to is at some point, the majority of players, either casual or in-game, are going to hit a point where they feel like they need something else to do in the game. That is happening fairly rapidly for in-game players, and casual players, the average player, are slowly starting to get there. So what I currently believe is that Season 1 is going to be 2 things. First of all, it's going to be a much needed injection of content, things to do, but it is also going to be an indicator, a sort of green or red light for most of the audience as to whether or not they're going to keep their interest into this game for years to come. If Season 1 comes and the seasonal mechanic, the seasonal quest, the seasonal challenges are very interesting and give you a lot of things to continue to grind for, to have a lot more in-game content than maybe is currently in the game, then I think that's going to keep people's interest a lot longer than we would originally think. However, if Season 1 comes and the seasonal mechanic is minor, the World Tier 5 doesn't come, let's say that's Season 3 for the data mine that we saw of the World Tier 5, etc. There's not really any new bosses, or let's say they don't bring the campaign bosses back where we can do them, and it's sort of more the same thing reskinned. I think we're going to see some people getting bored sooner rather than later. And while I myself play for just more the fun of it than anything, and obviously creating content, I don't have every character maxed out on 100, I do actually try to see things from the perspective of the people who are not like me and have been grinding a lot harder and a lot farther, and they've already cleared Nightmare 100 and Uber Lilith and all these things, and I could see from their perspective that if you're at that point and you have lots of characters maxed already, you're probably already ready for the new content at this point, and Season 1 really needs to deliver for those people. And while a lot of us are still making new characters and experiencing the game, every time that we do make a new character and experience the beginning of the game, we're experiencing it for the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th time at this point. So I do think that going into the further in-game seasons, it's got some weight on its shoulder. I think Season 1 is going to be sort of a make or break it point. I really hope they hit it out of the park, both because I want to see longevity in the game. Obviously, I would like to continue to create content on it for the years to come, but I also think that it's going to be important for the people that are the really, really hardcore audience in this game that have, I'm talking to people that got 5 100s already or 3 100s, whatever. They've already cleared Uber Lilith, Nightmare Dungeon 100. The people that are hardcore loving the game, I think those people are probably ready for some content. However, I do still firmly believe most people don't have a level 100 at this point. Most people are probably at the level 70, maybe 80 level or so. Most people don't have many alts, and there's still plenty of content left for people to absorb in this game. But I am seeing an increase in comments, both as well as YouTube, as well as the live stream, from people saying that they are now ready for new content, or they're hoping for new things to come into the game. And it's starting to feel like the tipping point is going a little bit from one way to the other. So Season 1 for me, and the point of this video, is I think Season 1 is going to be fairly important when it comes to actually delivering content. Now, if you're curious as to what Season 1 information we already have, what content will be available, and how I plan to prepare for that, I have a video showing you what all season content will be in here, and then I have a video showing you how to prepare now for that seasonal content coming up on this side of your screen as well.